Hi, everybody. It is Jen, ED Generation Housing. And for the first time ever, the Gen H team and I are going to bring you a video summary of this year's State of Housing Report. It is an amazing report, and I encourage you to spend the time to dive in on it. It is not supposed to be supplanted by this video. In fact, we hope that it ends up on your coffee table or on your desk or on the dais, and that you reference it all year, and that ends up looking like this of my last year's with lots of post-it notes on it. Use it to help make informed policy decisions, to make informed advocacy decisions and arguments. Use it as a tool. Thank you.
The 2024 Sonoma County State of Housing Report examines housing through the lens of our age milestones. What kind of housing do we need at different stages in our life? This lens is important because the next decade in Sonoma County's housing shortage will be driven by one factor: the aging of its population and the need to accommodate tens of thousands of seniors on newly fixed incomes, as this chart shows. This is a major test not only for how many homes we build, but of how flexible our current housing system is. Does it allow people to move to new homes that fit their changing needs? For example, seniors need smaller, more affordable homes, but will they find options that are as affordable as their current ones? Meanwhile, younger families need to move on from their rental options into larger units, but have they accumulated the savings in order to afford our rising home prices? In short, the county must facilitate a massive shift in homes between its older and younger populations by making it easier for households of all sizes and ages to find a match that fits their needs. The shift will allow the thousands of additional seniors still paying mortgage on their home since 2005 to find new options. When residents find it hard to find a chain of better fitting houses, it's hard to call Sonoma County home. And it will allow the county to reverse the trend in which there are 20,000 fewer young adult and middle-aged households since 2000.
Change has come fast. In just 15 years, we've seen affordable for-sale and for-rent homes totally wiped out. Someone looking to buy a home here in 2010 would have had many $400,000, $500,000, or $600,000 homes to choose from. Now, you're far more likely to find a home at or over $1 million. Renters haven't had it easy either. Monthly rents were typically around the low thousands range just half a generation ago, but today you're a lot more likely to be paying north of $2,000 a month on rent. Not only are homes of all kinds unaffordable these days, but change has been rapid, meaning the need for local housing solutions is more urgent than ever.
The data in a report also shows us who can afford to live here and what job sectors we need to make sure we're making space for. If we take a look at our chart here, starting with the construction industry, we can see that in California, generally a construction job pays your bills. That's why there's no green on the chart. There's no real dollar gap between median income and median rent. But then if we look right up to Santa Rosa, let's generalize that for Sonoma County, construction job doesn't pay the bills. What does it mean when median income doesn't make the rent? Well, it means that employers have a harder time hiring and retaining employees, which also translates to a harder time accessing services. It means longer wait times to see your doctor, hard time lining up a framing crew for your construction site, or a hard time keeping your kitchen fully staffed at your restaurant. It also means that employees will commute in to work from areas with lower cost of living, which means more traffic on our roads, more time spent in our cars, and less time spent with our families.
Home ownership is the #1 way to build wealth in America. It's part of achieving the American dream, symbolizing prosperity, freedom, security. However, in Sonoma County, home ownership has become more and more difficult to achieve, creating fewer wealth opportunities, particularly for families of color. According to our 2024 State of Housing Report, Black and Latino households are the least likely to own their own home in Sonoma County, and younger generations face similar barriers. And as you can see in this graph, home ownership rates for 25 to 34-year-olds have dropped from 36% to 22%, making it extremely difficult to build a stable future. Owning a home is what my family dreams and hopes for. And our biggest fear is that owning a home will become just that, a dream, a hope, rather than an attainable reality.
Since 2015, home prices in Sonoma County have skyrocketed by 40%, leading families with children to move away. And as you can see in this chart here, that has led to an almost 10% drop in school enrollment. Young families are being priced out, and as this graph shows, this is hitting harder here than it is in Napa or Marin. With only 28% of local households having children under the age of 18, this is leading to a rapid change in our community dynamics. What is a community without any young people? And what does our future look like without any kids? And the effect of a drop in young families isn't limited to one neighborhood or to one block. School closures in one neighborhood puts pressure on all the other neighborhoods, which means there's a ripple effect across our entire county. The housing crisis affects us all, our schools, our children, our community, and our future.
Only 5% of young adults lived at home in 1980, but today that number has risen to 20, peaking during the Great Recession. While Sonoma County fares slightly better than the state average, this trend persists. Greater diversity in our housing stock and the creation of more entry-level for-sale housing is key to reversing this trend.
Imagine working your whole life only to approach retirement and find that staying in your home, in your community, just might not be possible. We tend to think only of young people who can't see a future here, but more seniors are wondering if they can afford to stay as well. As you can see in our chart, nearly 6 in 10 seniors over 65 are spending more than 30% of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. And for those over 75, it gets worse. This isn't just about numbers. It's about dignity, security, and ensuring our seniors can age with peace, not financial strain. Affordable housing matters for all of us.
Hi, me again, and with just one more chart, a chart of production that shows the level of production by decade since 1950. Now, 3 takeaways for you. The first one is that about 60%, 3 in 5 homes, are at least a half a century old. Important to know as we go forward in home building. The second thing is that the 2010s, that decade after the recession, was the least productive record in this period of time. And that is understandable and predictable based on that economic crisis, the 2008 recession. The third thing, and this is the most concerning and troubling, particularly considering the needs that you just heard the Gen H team members describe in the other charts, the other data points, the needs that you know exist as community leaders. And that is that this decade, we are actually on pace to underperform the 2010s, to build even fewer new homes as we did in that decade following the Great Recession. And that might be surprising to you because you see a lot of new building around town, and those are great successes. But that is kind of a short growth spurt, and that has slowed, and we are not maintaining that pace. The really important thing to remember is that that growth spurt followed some important investments in local policy and local collaborative work to bring down funding from state and federal sources. It resulted from efforts that we made locally. And so we've got to do that again. We understand the need is great. We understand the ways the need is impacting the people who live here, the people who work here. And so it's time that we lean into every policy change, to every collaborative effort, to see every lever that we can pull together to make sure that we reverse this trend right now, and that not only do we not underperform the 2010s, but that we actually try to increase our rate of production. That is critical. All right, one more time, please read this whole report. We made it for you. Thank you.